And while I'm sure a lot of Sixers fans did not want to see the team win tonight, they got that part. You got your wish. But what you don't want to see is your other star player injuring his back, leaving the game due to a back contusion in the third quarter, already suffering from a bad pinky. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And I always say the ordinary part, and I get to the Sixers, but at this point, I think I need to accept the fact that this is ordinary for this particular Sixers season as they suffer a 119-102 loss to the Portland Trailblazers on the first end of the Sixers back-to-back, the second of the Blazers back-to-back, where they split their pair, and the 76ers, though, lose the game tonight. Rich Hoffman, Devon Givens, Bree is producing. All of you hanging with us in the chat. We'll check in with the guys from the arena to get the latest on Tyrese Maxey and the back contusion, this basketball team, and how things played out. We'll give you our player of the game. Rich's 3 takeaways as well. But, man, early on they played well, a little inspired basketball. But Tyrese Maxey, though, that part still struggling from the floor tonight where he just did not have it going. The hand was still bothering him, clearly, and it was a problem for him. And then he suffers the back injury, Rich, which is where we start tonight with this one for this team. As Bree put it in our thumbnail, season from hell.
It is, man. And, you know, it felt like a return to normalcy in a lot of ways, right? Quentin Grimes has that huge game. Sometimes players just get up for the national TV games, too. Mm-hmm. So even though you have Mike Tirico on the broadcast tonight, it was a local game. What do you think about that Chris Collinsworth interview now that we're at it? In the middle of the game, they just talked to Chris Collinsworth about nothing. They're just killing time, man.
I don't know. It's just like me calling Mikhail, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Like, Kale,
you calling into the Knicks broadcast right. Or something like that?
Or Kale calling into this show and just like, I don't know.
There's nothing going on for the Sixers, so Mike Tirico's
That's how bad it is.
Mike Tirico's like, you know, Chris Collinsworth was a great high school basketball player. That's what he had.
And some a la highlights where they go to the
the
mini box
what are they
for like 5 minutes.
Some grainy a la highlights. What was going on tonight? Yeah, I mean, it was a return to normalcy. And, you know, as far as the game flow went, it wasn't as painful as some of the most recent losses, right? They played a pretty good first half, and then as the game went on, the better team, which is the Portland Trailblazers, they have played very well over their last 20 games. They started to show it, and then they kind of run away from the Sixers late in the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, and comfortably get a win there. So that part really wasn't that bad or that surprising to me. Devon, the issue is just that we're dealing with a ton of injuries, man. And Tyrese Maxey, who's a guy we've debated, like, should this guy be even on the floor? And I would say when he played tonight, he didn't dissuade us from our takes, I would say. But he deals with the back injury, right? He falls down and he's grabbing at it. And you could see right away that he was not getting back up. It took him a few minutes, honestly, to get to his feet and get back to the locker room after it's over. For whatever reason, by the way, when I think of back injuries, I think of Batman. I know he didn't break his back. I know Bane didn't break his back here, but I love that scene in Dark Knight Rises. Anyway, Maxey was grabbing his back like Bruce Wayne was not, because he actually got messed up much worse than Tyrese Maxey.
Rothman Tyrese.
Anyway, it was it was pretty rough, and you know, I think we're at the point where it's time to shut him down, right?
Time to shut him down. Because
for a while.
You asked me again on Saturday post-game, what do I think? I didn't expect a second injury to impact our decision here, but I think it's very clear that after something like that, just save him from himself. He wants to play because he's Tyrese Maxey, but you need to save him from himself. He thinks he can go out there. We talked about a pregame where the report from Austin Krell had kind of sent out the back and forth with Nick Nurse pregame, and he mentioned how Tyrese Maxey came out for pregame shooting, did not have the tape on his finger. He asked if he needed it. He said, forget that tape. How's it feeling? Is it okay? No. He starts the game with the tape, shoots poorly, going 2 for 13, 1 for 7 from 3, only 5 points tonight, and then he hurts his back in the third quarter. So at this point, you must save Tyrese Maxey from himself, Rich.
Definitely. Like, shut it down. shut it the F down for that guy's his mental health, his sake. Like, he's done enough. I think it's admirable that he wants to push through this and 100%. Keep playing, but this is not the time. This is not a playoff push. These are not high stakes regular season games. Devon, he can't shoot.
He can't shoot
with the hand, man. He's shooting, I think, 1 for 19 from 3 in his last 3 games.
On second thought, put him out there.
Yeah, I know. Again, that's one of the most ridiculous things about this Sixers seasons that actually it's so frustrating is that you have 2 star players, first Joel Embiid for most of the past month, and now Tyrese Maxey, 2 guys who they're hurt in different ways, but their injuries are forcing them to not play very good basketball. And they are actually kind of driving the tank wagon. Man, Tyrese, they were playing deep drop coverage in that first quarter, and he went 1 of 7 from 3. He got up 7 threes in that first quarter. They were not guarding him like he was Tyrese Maxey, because if he was, normal Tyrese Maxey, he's stepping into these easy threes off the dribble. I think he went 0 for 6. And I think what Chauncey Billups saw is that I want to see him make a couple of these before we actually go out and get him. We're going to play the deep drop coverage with Klingon and Reith even after that. And he couldn't buy one. He just couldn't buy one. And it's so clear, Devon, like he can't shoot with this finger thing, whether the bandage is on it, whether the bandage is off it. The guy cannot put the ball in the hole. You can see it on his floaters. It has nothing to do with his ability to pass, to get to his spots,
he can dribble,
to run the offense. He made some good passes when he played in that game, but he just can't shoot. And I think he needs to sit down. Fine, if he wants to come back at some point at the end of the year, have a couple games where he goes off for 30 points just so he ends on a decent note, fine. But like, he needs to sit down. It said, I was reading some of the tweets from the Beats after the game, and they basically said that Nick Nurse said that he's day to day and he's still going to fly with the team to Minneapolis tomorrow night. I don't understand that. Like, give him a few days off. Tyrese, you've done enough.
He's not playing tomorrow. All right, fine. I get it because Thursday they play in Boston. So he goes on a trip. He flies with them. He goes to Boston. Shouldn't play. Shouldn't play against Boston either. Shouldn't play on Sunday against the Utah Jazz. Should not be playing.
I know. He shouldn't play. So I guess we should get to my 3 things.
Let's get to the takeaways.
That was the first one, Devon, that Tyrese's injury. So there were 2 injuries tonight, right? It was Tyrese, and then at the end, Justin Edwards tweaks his ankle. I don't know if it was the same one that he tweaked in practice like a week ago. I imagine it is, because as somebody who has had ankle issues, those don't really go away. They continue to, if you tweak it one time, you can get it healthier, but if it twists again, then it turns into a bad situation. I think that's what happened. And thank you for that, Bree. Are we going to play the video?
By the way, it doesn't help that Justin Edwards tweaked his ankle a couple of weeks ago and he's playing in the low-cut Kobe's. I'm sure he had his ankles taped, but it doesn't help.
Man, I don't understand that. That makes me feel like such an old man because, again, that's been, like you said, that has been a trend since Kobe Bryant.
And I do it.
To play in the low-cut sneakers. I feel like such an old man. When I hoop, I'm wearing...
You got the high tops?
Yeah, come on, man.
Going back to the Air Force Ones,
maybe
man.
Maybe it's because I tweaked my ankle in high school, but I don't understand how all of these guys... And by the way, it's not just them. It's a bunch of recreational hoopers as well. You do it.
I do it.
Or whatever. That is just something. I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? Like, what's going on?
We're hooping.
Yeah.
But yes, let's get to the video, Bree. So Rich can break this one down because...
Well, it's not much of a breakdown, but, you see...
Well, first, look how he bumped into the player right there first. It's like, dude, you're injury prone.
He goes up for a reverse layup here. Yeah. And it's
why? The basketball instincts take over, right? Your instincts take over. So you do that. You're going to do the play that your mind says, oh, let me go and let me do this. But my goodness, man, you're already banged up. You don't have to prove anything to your team, to this fan base, to this coaching staff, to this organization. We already know, Rich.
We know.
We know.
We know who you are.
Yes.
You've proved it this year. You've proved it in past years.
And he's doing this. So, number one, everybody knows he's a right-handed player. He's shooting with the right. So when he's driving, this is not a lefty reverse layup. This is a right reverse layup where you're already putting it out there, risking it for it to get hit on the pinky. But then the one thing is, all right, you're going for the pinky. You have to brace yourself with the pinky. it didn't seem like he really braced him.
Something they try to teach you, don't fall on your hand because that's how you jack up your wrist.
Idiot myself did that twice, broke it.
I do it too. I mean, they try to teach you that, but if you're going to hit your back or fall on your hip, like you're going to put your hand down, right?
Sure.
To brace yourself, and you're going to try and live with the consequences of that because it's a split-second move and it's an instinctual move. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's what it would be. But maybe he didn't put his hand down because it is jacked up as well. Regardless, you got a hand issue that you just can't make a shot. You got a back issue. Somebody like Nick Nurse, somebody, there needs to be an adult in the room. Just tell him, look, we love you. We love that you still want to keep playing. We love your competitive spirit. But you got to sit down for a couple days at least because, like, you can't make a shot. This is not really helping you at all. We know you can make these passes. We're going to lose a bunch of these games anyway, regardless, right? And he just needs to sit down for a little bit. Now, I'm sure the back issue, as I believe Nick Nurse said this after the game, and we'll talk to either Kyle or Derek in a few minutes here. That's something that could feel a lot worse tomorrow, too. You go to bed and that thing stiffens up. I know it's one of those things you get up. Sometimes you get up out of bed and you feel like you're 80 years old. I'm sure Tyrese won't feel 80 years old considering he's still young and he's a professional athlete and he's all that stuff. But he could be in some pain tomorrow for sure.
So this is the only thing I ever put myself in a professional athlete's position. The ankle, as we just talked about.
That's the one thing I heard.
That's one. But of course, my Achilles, my ACL, I can relate. I've also had a back injury, right? And my back injury was back spasms that I suffered in my early 30s. And it was just one of those simple things where I made a move, went up for a rebound, turn, pivot, boom, locked up on me. You fall to the floor. That's your tailbone. That's your lower back, things of that nature. It's difficult. Yes, he has the best treatment. He has the best doctors. He has that all, available for him. But hey, it happens. It really does happen. So to your point, that is definitely going to stiffen up. And then you're going to put him on an airplane. Now, maybe they decided, similar to what they did with Quentin Grimes with the quick knee issue that he was having, and they were getting blown out by 50 to the Chicago Bulls. 50. Where this one, while the game was close, he wasn't playing well. Why risk it, keeping him out there? But why put him on the plane tomorrow if it was enough for him to come out of the game and fly to Minneapolis tomorrow? Why?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why he's going to.
He can meet you in Boston
on the plane tomorrow. If you want to play him in a few days, that would be better than like just sit him down for a night at least, man. Especially if that. And it's funny, man. We talked about this earlier. The shooting is the big issue. Thought his passing was pretty good. I think he finished with 6 dimes and no turnovers in that game. I talked about the deep drop coverage that the Blazers were playing. Thought he and also Quentin Grimes later did an excellent job of throwing lobs to Andre Drummond. Good job there.
Yes.
Drawing Klingon, drawing Reith over, throwing it over the top to Drummond. I think he had at least 2 of those passes. He had a nice pass to, and this is Tyrese I'm talking about, had a nice skip pass to Yabusele from 3. There was another play too where he gets a steal. They're trying to run a dribble handoff to Simons. Gets a steal, really good defense. Drives it all the way down the court and just smokes a layup, right? Because he just doesn't have any touch with that hand. I think we heard on the broadcast too that he took the bandage off at some point and said screw it. That didn't really help. So
and that's frustration. That's frustration. He's frustrated. He can't make a shot. So what does he do? He goes right to that pinky and he removes the taping and the other wrapping that they had on the finger and removes that from the pinky, man. So yeah, he's frustrated right now. So that's why we're saying you got to save him from himself at this point to get him off that basketball floor. You have to. You have to. This is the season from hell. Things can only get worse at this point. And that's probably why you're going to get that draft pick, or at least finish the season in that conversation. And we'll see where it goes when the draft lottery on May 13th, I believe it is, takes place. But things just continue to play out poorly for the 76ers.
It's painful. And I thought
you see it yourself, everybody. Just like you said, man, just take it out of his hands. Take it out of his hands. Take it out of Paul George's hands and just wrap it up. Wrap the season up.
Yeah. And look, I think we'll talk in the second segment about some of the other stuff that we saw in this game. I didn't think this was that bad. I thought Portland kind of caught fire in the second half, and we'll talk to it. My second biggest takeaway, Devon, is that the defense, man, it's really bad. And I guess we can get into this right before our first break here. Nick Nurse and the players and Daryl Moore, first off, there needs to be new players who are better at defense because they're just getting destroyed on the glass every single night. It's unbelievable. They're getting absolutely housed on the defensive glass. One of the worst, most frustrating defensive rebounding teams I've seen. But there are other things too where like they overhelp and they leave Anthony Simons, wide open for threes. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. It feels like they need a new scheme on defense. They switch a lot and it doesn't work. Teams are much better now at attacking switches and slipping the screens and causing confusion. There's just a lot of times on the perimeter I'm thinking like, what is going on here? And some of that is to be expected, right? They are playing out the string with a younger team. So I don't want to put this all on Nick Nurse, but they need to, if they are ostensibly going to start trying again at the beginning of next season with the full deck and maybe Joel's back, they need to focus on defense right away because this is a complete mess right now. Every night they are running out this perimeter defense. And then at the end you have Drummond, who was pretty good tonight, and we'll get to him in a little bit. You know, he's giving up easy layup after easy layup to Klingon, to Reith. They're getting easy stuff at the rim. They need to fix. They need to fix that. And the defense has just been really bad.
Yep, it really has. All right, we'll get to Rich's rest of his takeaways as we go along. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll discuss 2 and 3 of Rich's takeaways. We'll get into also a quick feature that we have here for tonight's game coming out of the break. And we will also get to our player of the game, check in with the guys from the arena. Sixers fall 119-102. Tyrese Maxey injures his back, a back contusion, hard fall in the third quarter, leaves the game, does not return. Sixers lose. Most fans get what they want. And we need to want him to stay off the floor for the remainder of the season. We'll come back. We'll get into it all right here on the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365.
And Devon, let's start by talking about our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And it's almost spring, and that means that it is time to spring into savings. And if you have financial goals, and that could be a whole bunch of things, whether that's buying a house, taking that dream vacation, I might be going to somewhere in Europe in a couple months, or building your emergency fund, just trying to increase your savings for whenever that rainy day hits. TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they have the perfect savings account for you. TrueMark, they offer a high-rate certificate and money market account to help your money grow faster and work harder for you. So whatever your goals are, whatever you are saving up for, go check out TrueMark and visit TrueMark.com for rates and to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, and rates are subject to change.
And I need to tell everybody about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Folks, I apologize. It wasn't my fault. We got it right on the Tyrese Maxey angle of under 29.5. Free money right there. So hopefully you took that one in a solo by itself. But if you went to the parlay of the 4.5 assists for Denny Avdia as well, it's, my bad, folks. He ended up tonight with actually 4. 4.5 was the number. So I failed you. I apologize. We'll get back to it tomorrow for the next basketball game. But if you did tail and you did go to Bet365, you weren't alone because they have over 90 million users worldwide with live streams of 780,000 events a year. Early payout offers across the NBA and the NHL. Bet365 has also pioneered live in-game betting, offering the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up now. Use the code PHLY365, deposit 10, place a wager for 5, get up to 150 in bonus bets again, win or lose. And I did tell you a little bit earlier for tonight's action, if you decide to make a 3-leg parlay for at Bet365, you get a 30% profit boost. Hope you took advantage of that tonight, whether you tailed me, made your own wager. Hopefully you had some success there tonight at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. A 17-point loss for the 76ers tonight. They are now 21-39 on the campaign as the Sixers lose to the Portland Trailblazers. Tyrese Maxey leaves with a back contusion in the third quarter. Jess is getting on me because she did tell. What did we say in the moment when that alley-oop, Denny Avdia to Kamara? We're like, oh, this is the easy one right here. Jess, should have had it. Kamara
smoked it.
There was nobody there. I mean, he couldn't dunk it, but he lay it in. He's a left-handed player. He tried to lay it up with his right. Smoked it.
Yeah.
A couple of times they had a few of those. So, Jess, my apologies. I owe you $1.
Yeah.
All right.
A couple more notes on the defense.
And then we'll get to our other feature.
Yep. One guy who I have sung his praises for most of this year, and he's deserved it, too, that I have noticed as he has started to play the four more that is worrying me a little bit. Gershon Yabusele really does not move his feet well on the perimeter. Some of those botch switches, some of those drives to the rim, a lot of times I see Yabusele, I see his back, the back of his jersey, because he has been beat to the basket. Just something to note, and it's going to be important for him, right? Because what position can he defend in the NBA? I don't think he can defend the 5. He's really good at playing offense at the 5. He's awesome at that, and that might actually balance out how much he struggles on defense. But at the 4, his lack of mobility, I have noticed that a little bit when we talk about botch switches and players getting to the basket. Just thought I would note that. And one other thing I'd like to say too is it's not just like help. It's help that sometimes they screw up too. Like sometimes they have the guy waiting at the nail ready to help, and that guy's helping off Simons. So Simons is stepping into a wing 3, and it's just like, what are we doing here? It's like they have these principles, but they're not reading a game plan, and it's okay, fine. If that's Kamara, then maybe you play that defensive coverage, but you leave Anthony Simons wide open on the wing, like he's going to make you pay, and he really did that in the second half of tonight's game. So they lost the game. I think we all expected them to lose. I think a lot of us probably agree that the best thing for them to do is lose. But they are trying to win out there, and it is worth pointing out that I'm not exactly sure what they're doing.
Yeah, and as far as the Yabusele piece, still want to bring him back, but you can notice one thing that we saw is that, yeah, you give him one good jab step, Rich, and you can go the other way on the dribble because he is flat-footed and cannot move if there's somebody with some marginal average speed that can get right by him and get to the painted area.
It's side to side too.
Yeah,
he obviously can pump fake and get to the rim, but he gets beat off the dribble a lot on the perimeter, and it is something to look at, and it is something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And he's not the only thing. No, he's not the only one, but it is something.
And again, it's probably better. Well, it is better when you have better defenders surrounding you. It doesn't look as bad. And if Embiid, the defender that we knew him to be, was behind him, it's not all that terrible. We notice it, but hey, the big guy's cleaning it up. It's no big deal. But when you have Drummond back there, and Adembone is still a developing defender in this NBA. Once he gets things together, if he's playing those minutes, he'll probably clean up some of that mess too. But for right now, what we're seeing this basketball team, boy, that's rough. That is absolutely rough. All right, let's get to our feature here for tonight. And our feature here for tonight is let's take a look at which player is heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. You mentioned it, Tyrese Maxey, 1 for 19 over his last few games since dealing with the injury. He is cooling off, Rich. Now, it is partially because of the injury why he's cooling off the way that he is, but he has cooled off in a big, big way. And it's tough to watch him like this because we know this is not him. We know how much better he is. You've talked about his assist numbers and how he's still running the offense, making that extra pass, having a nice setup to Andre Drummond for those dunks early, finding players around the perimeter, Justin Edwards, Quentin Grimes for some outside shots that they did knock down, including Yabusele early in the game. But when we talk about the Ace Hardware heating up or cooling off, we're doing our first Ace Hardware as cooling off because Tyrese Maxey has gotten pretty cold as of late.
He's messing up his stats for the season too, man.
Yes, he
A
is.
1 of 19 from beyond the arc. He has struggled on wide open jumpers a lot this year. It's been a little bit of a weird shooting season for him, but I would say especially over this last week, like it is extremely clear that it is his hand. His hand is the thing that is screwing him up. You can hear the comments from Nick Nurse after these games, and I'm sure he wouldn't use it as an excuse. But yeah, I mean, 1 of 19 from beyond the arc. I mean, this is a guy who, a couple years ago, he would have I remember late in the Harden era, or late in the season when Harden first got here. Now that's different. James Harden was spoon feeding him wide open looks, particularly in the corner. So he was getting great shots. I mean, Devon, Maxey had months in like March and February when Harden got settled in here where he was shooting like 50% from beyond the arc. So definitely is a trying season. Of course, a lot of that is just that he hasn't had the teammates and he's been forced to do a lot more. So, he's taking tougher shots, and I understand that part of it. But yeah, over these last 3 games, it's just the hand is messing him up.
Hand is messing him up. So if we exclude where he did shoot 0 for 10 in the Knicks game, that was on February 26th, the 2 games in March, Tyrese Maxey against Golden State and Portland, he is averaging, Rich. First of all, he's shooting 4 for 27 from the floor. He is shooting from behind a three-point line, 1 for 9. And he is averaging, folks, 5 points. 5 in these last 2 games. That is not Tyrese Maxey. He has simply cooled off. That is, again, our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Tyrese Maxey has cooled off.
Yeah. Let's talk about who's heating up.
Who's heating up?
Well, I mean, relatively. We're not for Ace, but just in general, kind of heating up in their own direction. That was a really good first half from Andre Drummond.
Let's go to the player of the game to talk about it.
Is this the first one for him all year?
Yeah. Bree says yes. Look at it. And she got the perfect photo, too. Look at that one right there.
25 and 18 for Drum.
I'm ticked off face.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he knocked down a 3, Rich.
And he took another one after
Heat
that,
check.
too. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, so I was, my buddy Stacy was hitting me up on direct message on Twitter, and Stacy was like, and even Nona jumped in and also said, where's this been from Drummond? Rich.
Yeah, it's at the worst time, right? You were hoping you would see this in November when Embiid was hurt, and in October at the beginning of the year. Drum has been an extremely destructive player for most of the year. I don't know, maybe the toe injury was getting to him, at least over this last little bit.
Sure.
That doesn't excuse the entire season from him because he has been disappointing. But tonight, he was very good as a role man, as an offensive rebounder, did exactly what you were looking for him. But yeah, I think it's fair to couch that point with, where's this been the rest of the year? Where has this been, Drum?
Yeah, because we would be talking about something completely different right now. Now, look, maybe Paul George still injured, Tyrese Maxey gets injured, and Joel is done for the season. That is very, very true. That could very well be the case. But and then that would completely, most likely, push you out of your top 6 protected pick opportunity. But at that point, we were all still talking about wanting to see them win games and wanting to see how they fared going throughout the remainder of the season with Drummond getting those minutes, Yabusele as the prime backup, playing some 4 minutes there as well. And you get a game like this, you get a game like he had in the Golden State game where it doesn't look like he fits in that game, and Post was still giving him some trouble, but he was doubled in, 10 and 14 in that game also. And where have those games been? We were talking many a nights. Drummond, why can't you rebound anymore? These last 2 games, he has 32 rebounds. 32 rebounds. So, yeah, where's this been, Andre Drummond? Well, that being said, player of the game, Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond.
Brought to you by
no one.
But, yes, he was good.
Deserved it.
He was good.
He's
got his work cut out for him tomorrow because with Gobert out and all, Naz Reid has been playing again well. He's going to pull him away from the basket. Very curious to see how that one plays out tomorrow with Naz Reid.
Another guy who played well. Did not shoot it as well as he did the other night, obviously. I think we knew he was not going to shoot it as well as he did on Saturday. Quentin Grimes is good, man. He's just
good.
a good all-around player.
He's good.
They need to bring him back. They need to match that contract, whatever. Now, if it gets absolutely insane and Brooklyn throws some insane offer sheet, then maybe I'll change my tune.
Alan Crabb money. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're not in the Alan Crabb era. Man, there was never a better time to be a free agent than like 2016 in the NBA.
Alan Crabb
just
got
be
his.
kind of an average player.
Evan got his out in Portland.
Oof.
Yeah.
So bad. Wow, what a blast from the past, a bad contract. Like the Joakim Noah, Knicks deal, Mozgov in LA. Woof. Yeah. What a summer. What a summer.
Mozgov one was the worst, I thought.
It was
70 million for 4 years or whatever it was.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Quentin Grimes has been playing, I think, really well. I thought the thing that impressed me tonight, Devon, I thought the defense was good. Like you saw, I mean, he is clearly their best perimeter defender in terms of getting around a screen, and he drew a charge on one of those, got a couple steals. But I was really impressed with his playmaking.
9 assists.
Yeah, and I thought, he was able to get into the paint, and he made some good passes to Drummond, some that weren't even lobs too, some where they were kind of reach around passes, and that's part of why Drum played well tonight. He caught it and he finished and he made those plays. And then he had a couple good moves, and this was against Toumani Camara, who we both think is a very good defensive player. Late in the second half, Camara had been guarding Maxey for most of the game, as we thought, right? Maxey is at the top of the scouting report. Okay, so Maxey goes out with the back injury, so put him on Grimes. Now he still got downhill against Camara, who is very aggressive. You could hear Nick Nurse on the broadcast yelling, holding, because Camara
he said it like 5 times. 5 times.
Camara was denying him the ball pretty aggressively, I would say. But he had a couple moves in the paint. What did you call those? Like the rip throughs?
The rip,
where he's bringing the ball over his
swing
head.
Through. Yeah, the swing through. Yep.
Those are pretty to look at. And on one of those, he threw a nice.
That first one was sick.
He threw a nice pass. You kind of combine that move with the Euro step to get side to side, and then the second one, he makes the same move and puts a floater up and gets the roll in there. He's just a good player, guys. I'm impressed with what I have seen from him. I think he is clearly, if Maxey is going to be hurt, he is the guy I am clearly most excited to watch the rest of this season. If Tyrese is in this state, if he's out of the lineup, he's been pretty good, and it's not going to be enough to win a lot of these games, I would say, but certainly somebody who, if you give him the ball and give him a lot of pick and roll reps, he'll make decent use of them. And that's interesting to see, and hopefully they can bring him back at the end of the year.
Yeah, he needs to come back. He needs to come back, but like you said in the pregame show, might be pricing himself out if he continues to play like this. But again, they have his rights, and he is a restricted free agent, so it's something that we'll wait and find out. But Rich, if he's going to play these final, 21 games, I think they have 21 games remaining on the season. He's going to play these 21 games. He's going to get a lot of run. He's going to get a lot of run to show not only the scoring and the defense, but the playmaking that you just alluded to, where if there were questions from other teams in their evaluation of what they want to throw at a restricted free agent and unrestricted free agent, and they like what he has shown in these games in the Sixers uniform, closing out the season well, including that 30 and that 44-point performance, then he's going to get a pretty decent offer. Will Daryl Morey, number one, have the opportunity to offer him that contract, and will the Sixers in general want to give him that kind of contract?
I would say so. Another guy I would shout out for just, soaking up the possessions, being asked to do way too much in terms of the role we expected at the beginning of the season, and that's Justin Edwards, where you saw the growing pains, right? You saw 3 turnovers where, he just lost the ball, kind of silly plays at times, but he kept battling, and he goes 7 for 15 from the field, so he gets a bunch of shots up. He got a few grenades at the end of the clock, and, he had to make something happen, and he did, and he got in the mid-range and took some nice floaters, so I was impressed with that. I continue to be impressed with that quick trigger 3 that he shoots on the wing. Like, he makes himself available in transition, and if he's got some daylight and somebody hits him right in that shooting pocket with that lefty jumper, he lets it fly, man. He absolutely lets it fly. So I thought, he had a decent game as well. We're kind of trying to value the little things right now. I know these aren't like championship observations right now, but in these games when they're probably going to lose and they are at a big talent deficit, you have a team like Portland who just has a lot of guys that are rolling right now. You do take the little things, and I am a little bit worried about what these next couple of games might look like. You saw once Maxey went down, there was a Jeff Doughton, Lonnie Walker, Justin Edwards, Ricky Council, and Bodner lineup. That's tough. That's tough. It's just not a lot of shot creation on that group. And that's where you see Justin Edwards actually have to make something happen at times. It's where we are.
He made some good plays in shot creation, and then he also would get the basketball smacked out of his hands, either going out of bounds or a live turnover going the other way for the Portland Trailblazers to have an opportunity at a basket. The kid is good. As we talk about keeping Grimes, having questions about certain things, I think we do have an answer. It is always curious to find out what a player looks like in year number 2. We praised Ricky Council for his year 1 coming out of nowhere. The shooting is much, much better in Justin Edwards, but we praise one player. We're praising this one. We want to see him back on the team in a year. But, yeah, that guy, he looks like an NBA player. As he continues to build his body up, tighten up things with his handle, you could see it at times where he got some real wiggle there with his in and outs, keeping the ball low, crab dribble kind of bounce to bring the ball up very quickly right into his move. And he's a lefty. Lefties always have that advantage, and that is certainly him. So the kid can play.
I like that Val in the chat said she's been watching a lot of college ball lately. There's been some good games. Val, I think we're going to join you on some of that.
We're on our way, Val.
I think that is a good move by you, and I think we'll probably join you pretty soon to watch some teams in particular. I would imagine we watch Duke a little bit. Rutgers, I don't think Rutgers is a tourney team, but maybe we'll watch them in the Big Ten tournament. Texas, we might give a little look to. We'll be watching some of those players, and obviously the tourney's coming up, which is always one of the best sporting events of the entire year.
I was watching some college yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Watched college yesterday. Was it yesterday or Saturday? Because we came in here on Saturday. I think it was Saturday. Sorry. It was Saturday. I was busy yesterday, so I was running around. It was Saturday. I had on, now I'm drawing a blank because there were like 3 games that I was flicking back and forth and watching, but I did watch a few games on Saturday. So I'm getting in there. I'm getting to it. We'll be joining you soon, Val. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get to the Super Chats when we come back as well. We'll check in with the fellas from the Arena Sixers fall. Tyrese Maxey, injured, back contusion. Day to day. We don't like it. It's a post-game show presented by Bet365.
And Devon, let's talk about our friends at Mint Mobile. I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. And unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money too. And after years of overpaying for wireless, I finally got fed up from crazy high wireless bills, bogus fees, and free perks that actually cost more in the long run. And I switched to Mint Mobile. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and expected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. And all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts and ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. And if you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/Sixers. Let's get that right. mintmobile.com/Sixers. An upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month 5 GB plan required. New customer offer for the first 3 months only, and then full price plan options are available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
And as you try to set up that appointment, you get the phone, it's all secure. Well, you know what? Hand it over to Tyrese Maxey, and then you say, call and make your appointment at Rothman Orthopedics. And if Tyrese doesn't want to do that, I'll do it for him, because the 76ers are just basically leading right into all of my reads for Rothman Orthopedics. Joints aching, hands cramping, back now out of whack, 2 players with bad fingers and a bad back. Got to go to Rothman. Rothman Orthopedics, they practice and specialize in care and have been doing so. And that's been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research leading to new treatments and better outcomes. Since 1970, their physicians have remained committed to research, innovation, and minimally invasive procedures to get you back to what you specialize in. They're Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you. Tyrese Maxey specializes in basketball, but in order for us to watch him as a healthy player, he needs to get fixed with his hand and now his back, and Rothman does that. Patients will find with the full spectrum of orthopedic care at Rothman Orthopedics, from diagnosis to discharge, they provide their patients with every service and procedure necessary, such as x-rays, orthotics, MRIs, and PT, plus more. For more than 50 years, Rothman has participated in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefit of our patients. Rothman Orthopedics specializes in orthopedics and you. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. I got you, Tyrese. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Let's get to the Super Chats here, Bree. Check in with the folks. Corey, Tarico on the mic was the best part of the game.
I want to clarify this for everybody. I know we were joking about the Collinsworth thing earlier. I wholeheartedly agree. I really like Mike Tirico. That was and I like Kate too, so I don't want to make it sound like this is any shade at her. But Mike Tirico is good at announcing games.
He's Mike Tirico.
Enjoy him on Sunday Night Football. He's called basketball. Again, not for the last few years, but for a long time in my life. Extremely versatile. Love him on golf too. He's really good. And so yeah, it was a little weird to watch him commentate a Sixers game and announce the play-by-play, but I agree. I thought he was very good.
He's fantastic. Always fantastic. Haiku from Skunk Riley there. This haiku is titled, "Why, Devon?" All right, we like this one. Shut them down. Took a poll because our soul
took a toll.
Shut them down. Like that one.
Beautiful as always.
Yeah.
Skunk.
What was that? Public Enemy? Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. I think that was Public Enemy. Shut them down. Shut them down. Good stuff, Skunk Riley. Appreciate that. Skunk also says, Devon, have you ever seen a professional team so down bad over a bunch of pinkies, man? Pinkies, no. But now we're going to have to start incorporating these into the show because of Pinky from Friday, the movie series from Friday After Next and next Friday, because Pinky is one of the best characters in that series. So, but no, because of Pinkies, no.
No, they've had a really rough run of Pinky injuries. I don't really.
And even Kelly Oubre has had his thumb taped for like weeks. So their hand injuries have really been a problem. But as you said at the very top, just the injuries that are starting to pile up for this basketball team, this has been what this season has looked like.
When you go back to when Paul George hurt his hand against the Bulls, and I think it was Vucevic's jersey that he got his hand stuck in.
Yeah.
And it didn't really look like a ton. I mean, you could see where the injury happens, but it's similar to when Embiid hurt his hand in the one that I remember in the Toronto series in 2022. That was before the disastrous garbage time game 6, the elbow/concussion. But remember, he was playing with a busted up hand, which seemed kind of small compared to the rest of the stuff, but was certainly something that he had to play through. You do watch that and think like, man, I can't believe that doesn't happen more.
Yeah. Even with simple things like jamming your thumb because the basketballs. And these dudes, listen, if you ever play with college players, NBA players, or even highly skilled high school players that go into the college, it's one thing for me and Rich to, hey, chest pass. Chest passes, they're humming.
Yeah.
When you see those NBA guys making those chest passes, man. So I'm surprised more finger. Now they do all these things that they do to make sure that, remember the guys in football, hands in the rice and all that kind of stuff.
They have high quality treatment, but that still hurts though.
They do. So Skunk, thanks for the super chat. We appreciate that. Finally, Scott Glupo says, can someone clarify whether the Sixers would get a role in the a lottery ball machine before it's determined if OKC gets the pick?
Scott, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. And that role in the lottery ball machine will determine whether or not the Sixers keep their pick.
Mm-hmm.
Also will depend on what spot the Sixers are in. Like there is, so basically the way it works, Scott, is they do the lottery ball machine 4 times to determine the team who picks first, the team who picks second, the team who picks third, and the team who picks fourth. So one of the reasons why the Sixers losing might actually work out in terms of them keeping their pick, if they're like the 5th or 6th worst team, and they're the first 4 teams are in some order the teams that are ahead of them, who also have the best odds, they will be able to keep their pick because then it goes with the worst record gets the 5th pick, the 6th pick, all of that remaining. So that is how that works. Yes, it will be determined by the lottery ball machine.
Yep. So thank you everybody for the super chats, Skunk and Scott as well, and appreciate it, Corey. Also, we really appreciate it. Can I ask you a non-Sixers question before we go to like the tank watch? What the hell is going on with the Phoenix Suns?
Dude.
Just as a basketball fan.
Dude, I can't believe how bad they are.
What is going on? They've had like 4 different seasons in one. They get off to a hot start. They're right at the top of the West. Bradley Beal gets benched. He's coming off the bench. Not happy, by the way, they beat the Sixers in that game where they were struggling. You remember that when Bradley Beal comes off the bench and goes nuts? And what is going on there with that basketball team?
They're not going to make the playoffs either, and they don't have their pick. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's going on. It was, I think some of it is that it was
they are 4 games back of the Mavs, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a doom team in that I felt like they went a little too far on ball dominant scorers, particularly with Beal. You can have Katie and Booker, but I think you got to fill in that roster with more complementary pieces around them. And yeah, I mean, they've just made so many moves that their roster is extremely thin around those guys. And they're making trades in season 2 with like not the most talented players in the world. Like, so there is an acclimation period for some of these guys they brought in. They shipped out Nurkic, which didn't help. I'll tell you, who would fit really well on their team? A guy that they traded for Yusuf Nurkic and Grayson Allen, Toumani Camara, who was playing for the Blazers tonight. That was an original Blazers pick. I haven't watched a ton of them, but
you don't have to.
You just see the box score after it's over, and they're getting
or a tweet here and there, or check out PHNX Suns and how they're covering it, and you see Gerald writing all these stories, and it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Well, we all know when it started, right, Rich?
So have you
3
heard?
Seasons ago,
there are stories about
shouldn't have traded.
They might Budenholzer might be one and done out there, which is crazy because Vogel was one and done too.
And it wasn't Vogel's fault.
No, Frank Vogel getting fired was bad. And I'm also not the one who, firing the coach. I have come around on this, and that like these guys know what they're signing up for. Yes, usually it is not their fault when they get fired. But like, look, all of these guys are extremely well compensated, and they know what the deal is. The Frank Vogel one was complete BS, man. It was 1 year of this. They were very banged up last year. So they
give him a chance.
I mean, yeah, the guy had won a title before, which I know, that doesn't. Nick Nurse has won a title before, and we make fun of him. Or we don't make fun of him. We get on him quite a bit as well. But yeah, it felt like after 1 year, that was not a disastrous year that it was made out to be, and it's gotten worse since Budenholzer's gone there.
It really has.
And by the way, Mike Budenholzer usually was a very good regular season coach for Milwaukee too. So I did think like, all right, somebody will be able to get them to defend and put them in the right system, but it just has not worked out for them this year.
Not at all. Not at all. Phoenix Suns 28-33, and they are 2-8 over their last 10. 2-8. So not good.
I mean, and also too, I know I just said a lot about this, and I know your cousin was involved in that deal. They gave up too much for KD. Like, you see star players, they don't get traded for that much anymore. They gave up, 5 first-round picks, plus McHale, plus Cam. We saw how many picks McHale went for as well. It was not the right valuation of
new
of
owner,
your players.
Owner syndrome.
Seriously.
Swooping in.
There might be an Ishbia rule at some point.
Yeah, there might be. Let's check in with the PHLY Sixers rule from the arena as they check in here post game following a Derek Bodner spotting. Look at that.
There he is.
Look at that on the post game show. Derek Bodner joining us live from the arena. What's up, man?
Yep, Kyle has the night off, so you have to put up with me today. I am a little surprised jumping on here that we're getting a little Matt Ishbia talk. I guess that really points to where we are in this Sixers season. But I guess we can talk about that basketball.
They're neck and neck, man. Suns and Sixers. And tonight, most importantly, though, as we started the show off, right, and most importantly, Derek, is simply the Tyrese Maxey piece, back contusion, as told by the Sixers, injured in the third quarter. What else did Nick Nurse have to say in his postgame availability, if at all?
Yeah, he mentioned that the initial evaluation was positive, that he is listed as day-to-day, and he will make the trip to Minnesota. Obviously, he pointed out that, how he feels when he wakes up tomorrow will be key, certainly, and then they will go from there. But it did sound like he was checked out by doctors. The initial evaluations were good. I guess that is all you could hope for. But it is kind of one where you sit there and go, all right, well, how's that going to feel tomorrow? How's that going to feel when he tries to move? He's already at the point where he's only using 3 fingers to shoot a basketball. And by the way, I think he's made like one of his last 19 3-point attempts. Now you're adding in another back injury on top of that. You are getting to the walking wounded part. It is not something that you want to see him try to play through if it is hurting him at all. But we'll see how he responds tomorrow and whether or not he's available.
Derek, let's go positive. I guess what did you see from Quentin Grimes following the point explosion? What did you see from him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, clearly he didn't have the long ball going like he did the other night. He's not going to be able to make all of that. How many threes he make the other night in that 44-point explosion? A bunch. He made a bunch of threes. It was 6. It doesn't matter. He's not going to be able to make every shot like that. And here was the polar opposite. I thought he made some pretty good plays, though. I thought defensively he got a couple of deflections, got them out in transition. I thought he had a couple of decent drive and dump offs. I thought overall he played well outside of the fact that he wasn't making anything from the perimeter, which is going to happen. But no, I think he has shown that he can, impact a game in multiple different ways. He's not going to have a 40-plus point night every time. He's not going to make 6 threes. But the defense, the fact that he's showing you a little bit more off the bounce, and then also because that shot is still a weapon for him, I think it's been an overall very positive first couple of weeks for Quentin with the Sixers. It'll be really interesting to see what they do in the summer, but that is a good problem to have for a team that really just looks like they might have manufactured a rotation member, a guard at the deadline. So far, I think he's looking really good.
And when you talk about the offensive that we talk about with the explosion, but just the defense is something that Rich was also focusing on, and how much he's fighting over screens, able to do that, staying with guys laterally, moving side to side, making shots tough for the his assignment. What are you seeing from his defense that's also, making the overall two-way play of Quentin Grimes work out so well so far?
Yeah, I think it's just real steady in pretty much every regard. Like you mentioned, he's doing a good job fighting over screens, and that's something that's really key for the Sixers team that has really, at times, overhelped when ball handlers get off of that screen and into the paint. So being able to follow through that screen and not reset the defense has been key. He's got really good hands. He's gotten them out in transition a bunch. And he's also just big enough and strong enough and versatile enough where he can switch if the need calls for it. So I think he's just a real good, versatile defender that doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses and really finds a way to impact the game.
Derek, Andre Drummond was our player of the game. I will inform you that I believe it was his first player of the game.
I will go back and check because I've been tracking that. I'm pretty sure that is a safe assumption. Yes.
He's playing better though, right?
He is. And he remarked after the game, he's like, I didn't realize how important the big toe was for what I do, but I feel a lot better moving. So yeah, it seems like that toe that he hurt, when was that game that he got kicked out of? A while back. It seems like that was really impacting him. Yeah. A little while ago.
I think it was a couple days before Christmas.
It was late December. Yeah. It seems like he's moving better. And I certainly, he had a real impact on the offensive glass to start this one. He had a couple of lobs, which I'm sure made Devon really happy. He had a couple of poster attempts, converting 1 out of 2. He certainly looked a lot more spry than he has looked in a long time. And because of that, not only was he more active on the glass, not only was he more impactful offensively, but he wasn't as picked on defensively as he has been at various points. Still nowhere near good in terms of defending pick and roll and defending in space. But I thought he looked a little bit more competent. He was just better all around.
And just getting ready before we let you go, back on the Maxey piece just quickly. Day-to-day, yes, but if the back can tighten up, Derek. Yes, they can put some heat on his bag, ice, whatever they want to do. Why have him fly to Minnesota instead of just sitting and maybe having him meet them in Boston?
Because they really want to try to get that 10th seed. Because you've got a lot of people right now who I think, whether or not their jobs are in jeopardy or not, I think there's a lot of people that are concerned. You've got Tyrese, who obviously wants to compete and make that play-in. I think a lot of people believe that if they get in that play-in spot, they have a second lease on life. And do any of us three sitting here believe that as well? No. But I think there's just a lot of people making decisions for, I don't want to call it selfish, but maybe a little personal. A lot of people who are, look, I think with the way he's playing right now, and this is, painted a little bit by the fact that I want that draft pick. I think it's best for the franchise to get that draft pick, but I understand that coaches are not going to feel the same way. But when he's out here shooting 1 for 19 from 3 over his last 3 games, when he had a game like the other night where he's looks quite frankly scared to take a 3, and when he had an 0 for 10 game right before that, he is not the kind of player that we know he can be. And if you add now in a back injury to that finger injury, it's like, what are we doing here for what game? Because if they get into play-in, look, without Joel Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey banged up, with Paul George banged up, with the way they've played defense all year, they're not doing anything. And I understand the desire to compete, and you can't tell coaches not to go for that 10th seed. You can't tell players not to go for it, but you can tell them to be smart and wise about the players that they have and the stars that they have. And if you're that banged up, get some rest. Like, I don't understand what's being accomplished by putting him out there like that.
No, and we were looking at the numbers. You mentioned the 1 for 19. Derek, he's averaging 5 points over these last 2 games. 5. He's taking double-digit shots.
Yes. And look, the crazy thing is, even with him averaging 5 points per game and shooting 1 for 19 from 3, he's still a net positive on the floor, because when you get past that, like Jared Butler had a 5-minute stint in the first half. He wasn't any good. Now, granted, he has barely played, so you understand if he's a little bit rusty, but he wasn't good. You're looking at like Quentin Grimes and Lonnie Walker minutes, and even with Maxey struggling the way he has, the team just looked way more discombobulated in the second half once he was finally ruled out. And there's just nobody there to sort of stabilize the offense and get them into sets. There's nobody to force a rotation. And even if Maxey's not a great passer, he's still the best they have at trying to create open shots. So I understand the urge, but there just needs to be somebody look at the bigger picture. Like, look, this kid's health is way more important than trying to win a couple games, meaningless games here in March. I understand that technically, even though you're 21-39, and by the way, what an abomination that a 21-39 team thinks that they have any right being in the playoffs, but they still have a chance. And until they do, they get eliminated or really hit a losing streak, which, by the way, when you look at the upcoming schedule, that could be coming up soon. They are going to push for that playoff spot recklessly, even if it is.
Derek, last one, wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. Did they say anything about Justin Edwards? It seemed like he tweaked his ankle there.
Yeah, it was the same ankle that he tweaked a couple of weeks ago. Likewise, initial evaluation seemed like it was positive. He's also listed as day-to-day, and he will also travel. Again, that's another one where you see how it reacts the day after, but so far, the initial inspection looks mildly encouraging, at least.
All right. You got it, man. Well, listen, drive safe, get home safely. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock start time, 7:30 pregame with Derek, myself, Kyle, and Bree, Sixers, Timberwolves right here. We'll get you ready for it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. See you guys soon.
You got it.
See you, man.
Appreciate it. Derek Bodner joining us. Kyle with the night off. Derek Bodner joining us from the arena. And with that, we want to say thank everybody. We appreciate it. Make sure you go sign up, become a diehard member. Read all the stories there. Fran just put together a great, Fran with the draft guide. Then you have the Zach Berman's Eagles. If I were Howie Roseman, a 25-step guide for how Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles could navigate the offseason.
Now we need some help from Zach.
It is fantastic. Folks, go sign up, allphly.com. First year free at $48, $4 a month. You can't beat it. And you get a free t-shirt as well. So, yeah, Howie Roseman.
He knows what he's doing. But read what Zach is saying, because Zach also, he loves getting in the mind of Howie Roseman. He talks about how it's a sickness for him, that the man is obsessed. That's why he sleeps 3 hours a night, because he's thinking what Howie Roseman's next transaction is going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right, so make sure you go do that, allphly.com. Our schedule for the week. Bree has it up on the screen. we're running through Thursday, man. Running through Thursday. 4 games this week. Folks, we have 4 games a week for the entire month of March. 4 games. 7 at home, 10 on the road. So you'll have Rich and I with Bree for 7 together, and then the other 10, of course, on the road with Kyle and Derek in here with Bree and I, and we will have some fun. So Monday through Thursday, and then we're also on Sunday for the Jazz back here in Philadelphia. So Friday and Saturday off, and that's our schedule for the week here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Just quickly, a tank watch for what we're doing here tonight. Tank watch. Utah down 20 to the Pistons, 67-47 at the half. Charlotte, we already know. They lost to the Golden State Warriors. Portland defeated the Sixers, as we know. Miami took down Washington. And Atlanta actually beat Memphis, so they stay in there in that mix. And that's what really matters tonight in terms of tank watch. So nothing really impacting the Sixers for where they are. The San Antonio Spurs played. They're 25-34. Portland now 28-34 with them. And in the East, the 2 bad teams, we mentioned the Hornets and the Wizards. The Raptors right now have a 2.5 games are behind the Sixers right now. So they are right in front. Sixers and Nets tied at 21-39 right now, 29 games back from first place. Let's just have fun with that one. From first place, they're 29 games back.
We should really get those helmets for the tank watch at least.
Oh, we're getting them. Somebody asked us in the chat, Bria. I don't know who asked when. I think it might have been Gavini asking when we were going to get the helmets. The helmets. Vinny, you're watching.
Come on. I'm sure they're like $10. We got to just order them.
If I find them first, I'll get them in the store, but just saying. Just saying. All right. Let's get ready to wrap this thing up. Sixers fall 119-102. Our show was brought to you by Bet365. As always, make sure you download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's time for the world famous. You know it. You love it. It's a roll call.
Roll call, baby.
Roll call. First, we get to the super chats first and tell everybody thank you, Skunk, Corey, and Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
For the super chats. You get the ding for the money coming in. You know how you go into the restaurant and they're like, order up.
Yeah.
Tommy Davidson character on In Living Color was always the best with that one. All right, let's get to everybody. You better love somebody to love somebody. On a Monday, we thank you. Yams, Gavini, what up? Fusion, Phi Chi, Rich P, what up, Rich? I could get a 2-on-5, Mellow 3-point. Kyle Wright, what's going on, Kyle? We had Val, Nona, Jess, AJ, Jeannie, all the ladies. Hello and thank you. Mom, too. I saw Mom in there as well. Vinny said, we will get those helmets for you.
Shout out to Vince.
Shout out to Vince. Look at that. Philly Love.
Philly Love.
What up, Philly Love? Davon, Jeannie. We already mentioned Jeannie. The Internet Wizards Society. Love it. We appreciate it. T. Harris.
What up, T?
What up, T? Boots. Always good to see Boots in the mix. Who else do we have? Flavio, Joaquin, Noob, Michael Horvath, Aaron. What up, Aaron? X-Man. What up, X? We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We thank Derek Bodner for joining us from the arena. We appreciate, as always, the production excellence from super producer Bree.
As always, the best.
And we want you to like and subscribe to the show. We appreciate that. As always, when you do hit that bell icon, you know what time it is. Showtime, folks, right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Sixers fall 119-102. They're now 21-39 on the campaign. But we're back tomorrow night, 7:30 for an 8 o'clock tip time when they take on the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards live from Minneapolis. And we will be here at 7:30 for the pregame coverage with Derek, Kyle, myself, and Bree as well. We'll catch up with Rich over the weekend for Sixers and Jazz. You got any Eagles stuff you got to do this week? Or
No.
Get a break.
Get a little bit of a break, yeah.
Rich gets a little break. So Rich gets the break. We'll be here. We'll connect with Rich over the weekend for Sixers Jazz. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday night. Enjoy your early part of the Tuesday. Check in with us at 7:30. Until then, as always, we appreciate it. We'll see you then. Good night.
See you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.